Have you ever wondered why the rich keep getting richer, and no one ever tells you how they actually do it? Welcome to Prosperity Magic, your trusted guide to the mindset of wealth. I'm glad you're here. Today, I'm going to reveal 3 secrets that the rich rarely, if ever, want you to know. These are not just lessons from textbooks. They're raw, real, and controversial truths that challenge what society wants you to believe. But before we begin, let me ask you something. Do you resent the wealthy? Do you believe this world is fair? Have you ever heard the phrase, "Money is the root of all evil," and found yourself nodding in agreement? If you've ever felt that way, then there's one book I think you should read. It's called What Money Can't Buy by Michael Sandel. And yes, I'm recommending it even though it completely goes against the mindset I usually teach on this channel. Contradiction and purpose. If you've been following Prosperity Magic for a while, you know this is a space where we empower you with financial thinking and entrepreneurial strategy. So why am I bringing up a book that seems to contradict everything I stand for? Simple. Because understanding both sides of the argument makes you sharper. Even though I believe the book is quite pessimistic and lacks practical solutions, it raises important questions. And asking the right questions is the beginning of transformation. Who is this book really for? Let's be honest, who do you think would feel deeply satisfied reading this book? It's people who love to say, "Money can't buy love," or "Money can't buy health," or "Money can't buy happiness." In other words, people who've been conditioned, even brainwashed, by movies, media, and society. You probably know someone like this. They present themselves as morally superior because they don't care about money, or they claim to live pure lives, untouched by materialism. Yet every month, they're still hustling for their next paycheck, still bending to the will of money. They might not realize it, but they've become slaves to the very thing they pretend to reject. And I'm not saying this to insult anyone. I say it to spark deeper thought. Why do people say money isn't everything? Is it because they already have enough? Or is it a coping mechanism, a way to comfort themselves for not having what they want, hoping others will admire their supposed virtue? About the author and the real message, Michael Sandel, the author, is no stranger to wealth. His books are bestsellers, and he speaks from a position of privilege. What makes his writing persuasive is that he critiques capitalism from within the system, from a place of financial security, not from the outside looking in. He brings up deep economic questions. What is fairness? What is efficiency? Can both exist at the same time? These are questions that even top economists still struggle to answer. And while I don't agree with all of Sandel's views, there's a key reason I want you to read this book. If you want to make money in this world, especially from the masses, you need to think like the masses. You need to understand how they see the world. Because only then can you create products, services, or solutions that actually resonate. Understanding human nature to create wealth, wealth building is not just about math or hustle, it's about psychology. You have to understand people before you can influence them. If you finish this video and truly absorb what I'm about to share, I promise, your entire worldview will begin to shift. You won't be able to unsee it. You'll climb higher. Your mindset and your finances will rise together. But before we continue, remember, this channel is designed for entrepreneurs, investors, and anyone who's serious about financial freedom. So, if that sounds like you, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. If you find this content valuable, give it a like and share it generously. Help others find this knowledge, just as you did. And to all of you who support Prosperity Magic, I genuinely wish you wealth, freedom, and fulfillment. Let's dive into the first idea. Now, let's get to the heart of today's discussion. Most people believe income inequality is a huge problem. And it is, but not for the reasons they think. Sandel argues that fairness should be a basic human right. That's the first big idea. There are things money should never be allowed to buy. Let's take the simple act of standing in line. People often say, first come, first served. It feels fair. It feels just. Everyone gets the same shot, whether rich or poor. It's democratic, isn't it? But let's flip the script. Think about boarding a plane. You don't have to wait in line if you pay more. Business class and first class passengers walk straight through priority access while everyone else waits. Sandel calls this unfair. Why? Because not everyone has the same ability to trade money for time. A question of time versus money, so here's the deeper issue: the poor often pay more, not in cash, but in time. They wait longer, stress more, and lose more opportunities while the wealthy buy speed, comfort, and efficiency. And that creates a cycle: the rich buy time to earn more, while the poor spend time and stay stuck. But let's pause. Is this really unfair? Think about this: is the value of time the same for everyone? Imagine two people. One is retired, with all day free. The other is a young parent juggling a job, school, and family. To the retired person, standing in line may be a pleasant way to pass time. But to the younger person, every minute counts. Now take that even further. The ultra-wealthy, their time is worth hundreds of dollars per minute. Literally. In 1 minute, they can make or lose millions. So is it really unfair for them to skip a line? Or is it just efficient? Fairness is subjective. Here's the uncomfortable truth: fairness isn't objective. It's personal. What you see as just, others may see as ridiculous. Because value is relative. And time is the most valuable currency of all. And that's exactly why rich people spend money to buy time, so they can use it to earn more, grow more, and live more. So next time someone says, "That's not fair," maybe ask yourself, is it unfair, or is it just a different way of thinking? The illusion of fairness, a matter of perspective. So, why do so many people agree with the idea that fairness means giving everyone an equal chance to participate? It's simple: because they're looking at life from the perspective of the poor. Just like retired seniors may see waiting in line as fair, because they have plenty of time, the rich see it as the exact opposite. For them, time is a scarce and expensive resource. Standing in line isn't just inconvenient, it's wasteful, even unjust. Let me be clear, I'm not against fairness. In fact, I support it deeply. But we have to wake up to a difficult truth: absolute equality doesn't exist in our world. It never has. Scarcity is the root of competition. From the very beginning of human civilization, scarcity has defined our lives. Go back thousands of years. In primitive society, what was the most valuable resource? Surprisingly, it wasn't food. It wasn't shelter. It was women, because they were essential for reproduction, and they were few in number. So what happened? Men had to fight for the right to be with a woman. Only the strongest survived, and those who lost didn't just walk away in shame. They were excluded from continuing their bloodline. They lost access to both family and food. This wasn't cruelty. It was nature's design. Fast forward to today, and we don't fight with spears anymore. We fight with money. We use wealth to access better healthcare, better homes, better opportunities, and yes, to bypass waiting lines. Why people work so hard for money? So why do people work tirelessly day and night to earn money? Because deep down, they know this: money is the modern gateway to freedom. It's not just about luxury. It's about control. Money lets you buy time. Money lets you escape the grind. And money lets you make life more comfortable, on your own terms. But here's the million-dollar question: why do some people succeed in making money, while others remain stuck? The answer isn't luck. It's not hard work alone either. The answer lies in one word: mindset. The wealthy think differently. They learn differently. They see the world as a system to be understood, not something to blindly complain about. It all comes down to knowledge and thinking. So, what separates the rich from the poor? It's not their birthright. It's not some hidden privilege. It's the difference in thinking, in knowledge, in how they understand value and time. This brings us full circle to the original topic, the illusion of fairness. We like to think fairness means everyone gets the same chance. But what if time itself isn't equally valued? Is waiting in line really fair? Let's revisit the example of waiting in line. Many people believe that standing in line is fair. First come, first served feels democratic. It gives everyone, rich or poor, the same opportunity to participate. But let's apply that logic to flying. At the airport, do you see fairness? Not exactly. If you can afford a business class or first class ticket, you skip the line. You enter through the priority gate. And just like that, money has bought you back your time. Sandel, the author we discussed earlier, calls this unfair. Why? Because not everyone has equal financial ability to skip the line. But let's think deeper. The hidden cost of time, the poor often pay with time. Longer wait times. Slower services. Less efficiency. Meanwhile, the wealthy pay with money, and get access to speed, comfort, and control. So while the rich grow richer, not just in wealth, but in time, the poor stay trapped, their hours consumed by low-value tasks. But here's what people often overlook: is time equally valuable for everyone? Let's say you're a retiree. You have no job, no school, no responsibilities. You can afford to wait. In fact, waiting in line might be something you want to do, to pass the time. But what about a young professional? Someone juggling a career, raising a family, studying, and trying to improve themselves. Time is priceless for them. Every minute matters. And the wealthier you become, the more expensive your time gets. Time for the wealthy is priceless. I've said this many times on Prosperity Magic. For the wealthy, time is their most valuable asset. They don't waste it. They buy it back, through outsourcing, through faster services, through leverage. Because in just 1 minute, a wealthy individual can earn or lose millions. If they stand in line with everyone else, they're not just waiting. They're bleeding opportunities. They're giving up time that could have been turned into investments, innovation, or growth. So when we say, that's not fair, we must ask, fair, according to whom? Subjective fairness and the bigger picture, because fairness is subjective. It's not a fixed formula. What feels just to one person can feel outrageous to another. Why? Because our values are different. Our perspectives are shaped by our reality. And our time, the most precious currency, is valued differently based on our role in society. Pushpin, if you're still watching, congratulations. You're not just learning finance. You're learning how the world really works. And that gives you an edge. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join the growing family here at Prosperity Magic. Because here, we don't chase fairness, we understand it. We master it. And we use that knowledge to create freedom, not frustration. Let's continue this journey. More secrets are coming up, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Let's dive even deeper. Why do so many of us accept the idea that fairness means equal opportunity for all? Because, unconsciously, we're often viewing life from the perspective of the poor. Just like the elderly who consider waiting in line fair because they have the luxury of time, we forget that fairness itself is relative. To the wealthy, who operate under extreme time pressure, standing in line is inefficient and unjust. I want to be clear here, I believe in fairness. But we have to confront reality, true equality simply doesn't exist. The primitive origins of scarcity. Scarcity is the foundation of all human competition. In ancient times, women were considered one of the rarest and most precious resources. Men had to fight to win the right to reproduce. The victor gained access to food and protection. The loser. Exclusion from both survival and legacy. That was the primal law. And today, that law hasn't vanished, it's just transformed. Instead of fists and weapons, we now use money to compete for resources. We work, we hustle, we save. All to earn the freedom to live more comfortably. And yet, not everyone can earn money the same way. Why? Because of gaps in knowledge, education, mindset, and strategy. Why the rich deserve wealth, a controversial truth. It may sound unfair, but wealth is often a reward for those who change the world. Think about it, would you be watching this on a smartphone if Steve Jobs never existed? Would we connect in real time without Zuckerberg? Would online commerce thrive without Jack Ma? Their innovations created new systems, changed billions of lives, and yes, they were rewarded for that. That's the first truth I want you to internalize: inequality is inevitable. Because we're not all the same. Our appearances differ. Our IQs differ. Our abilities differ. And so, our outcomes will always differ too. Some may say I'm being biased. But let's be honest, why are pigs born to be eaten? Is that fair to pigs? Of course not. But nature isn't always kind. Nature operates through the food chain, not democracy. Rewriting destiny through awareness and environment, most people accept their place. They surrender to fate. And because of that, they stay at the bottom of the food chain. But not us. We're here to reverse fate, to change destiny. And I always emphasize two ways to do that: 1, expand your knowledge and raise your awareness. 2, change your environment, surround yourself with people who radiate good fortune. In simple terms, enter the circle of the wealthy. If your mind is ready for deeper truth, study Buddhist philosophy. According to it, all beings are equal. We're born with nothing and die with nothing. Only through enlightenment can we escape this suffering. Does money corrupt morality? Let's talk ethics. Sandel believes that money slowly corrodes meaning. How? Because money turns sacred things into transactions. People often say, with enough money, you can even command the devil. But the danger is this: when everything becomes a commodity, we risk losing our humanity. Here's an example: a famous actress once drew outrage for using a surrogate mother. Many argued that surrogacy violates moral boundaries. Why? Because it turns something intimate, pregnancy, into a financial contract. Sandel believes that this very act proves his point: money is the root of evil. He cites a case from India. A journalist uncovered the story of a woman whose husband earned $40 per month. Her entire family of 7 lived in a crumbling home. But by becoming a surrogate, she could earn $8,000, equivalent to 16 years of her husband's income. For them, surrogacy was a blessing. Her husband even dreamed of finishing their home with the money. They weren't ashamed. They were grateful. A market perspective versus a moral one. So, is it really wrong? There's demand. There's supply. Why not allow it? Supporters of legalizing surrogacy argue from a market viewpoint. Their reasoning is sound. And yet, this is exactly what makes people believe money corrupts. Because it defies traditional moral standards. But let's stop blaming money. Money isn't evil, people are. Money is just a tool, like a gun. In the US, guns are legal. A gun can protect, or it can kill. The tool isn't the problem, human emotion is. Greed and fear are the true sources of moral decay. Even charity, done by the wealthy, can raise ethical questions. It's called generosity in Buddhist terms, a way to earn virtue. But think about the recipients. Some feel grateful, but others feel shame. So does charity hurt dignity? Does generosity violate self-worth? Everything has two sides. The truth isn't found in external objects. It's found by looking inward. The failure of markets. Now let's talk about the limits of the market. Sandel says, markets are not omnipotent. And I agree. There are things money can't buy. Example. In Switzerland, a town was asked to store nuclear waste. 51% of residents agreed, motivated by civic duty. Later, the government offered financial compensation, and support dropped to 25%. Why? Because money tainted their sense of honor. What was once a noble sacrifice now felt like a cheap transaction. Even when the payout increased to $8,700, support remained low. This proves a critical truth: there are problems money can't solve. True motivation, true belief, they come from within. That's why the most successful companies, like Alibaba, aren't just built on rewards. They're built on a shared dream, like their mission: make it easy to do business anywhere. That vision created a movement. It gave employees purpose. That's something money alone could never buy. Final reflection: be careful with this book. And now, a word of caution. While I agree with many of Sandel's insights, I worry that this book, meant to awaken the rich, is often read by the poor. And instead of awakening them, it comforts them. They begin to say things like, "Why earn more? The rich are heartless. Money brings no happiness." They secretly admire wealth but publicly condemn it. They cling to phrases like, "Money can't buy love," to justify their failures. This mindset is dangerous. We must understand the game before we try to change the rules. That's why your first priority is to make money. Create assets. Build passive income. Gain power, then use that power to pursue higher ideals. One last question for you: before reading books like this, ask yourself, am I thinking with positive or negative energy? Do I have clarity, or am I lost? Because if you lack direction, this book may lead you deeper into confusion. For those who are awakening, but not yet awakened, read it with caution. And whatever you do, don't let it reinforce poverty. That's all for today's episode. If you gained even one insight to improve your life, I'm fulfilled. I share free content on becoming wealthy, building businesses, investing, and achieving financial freedom. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs it. This is Prosperity Magic, and I wish you all the success and wisdom in the world. See you next time.